Hi there, my name is Jen, and thank you for joining me on the Pixi Dust Designs YouTube channel today. Today we're going to be creating a card using this adorable bunny hug die set, and I wanted to go over just a few of the tools that I find are really helpful when dealing with smaller die cut pieces. And one of those is this double-ended tool. It can be any brand, any kind, as long as there's a point and a wax tip or a pickup tip on the end. And then tweezers are also super helpful when picking up some of those smaller die cut pieces. As well, a little dish or a magnet backdrop or something like that to make sure that all your dies stay in one place. I know that if I don't do this, I tend to lose, especially the little dies. We're going to go ahead and start out with the cup portion. There are two parts to the cup. There is the main die, and then there is like a little strip that you could use for whatever liquid is in the cup. So I am not going to end up using that portion today because I'm going to use this die a little bit differently, but that is what that is for. And there's also a little slit that the die cuts in the cup in case you want to insert anything, and I will be inserting something, so I will show you how I use that. I am going to keep the cup white, but I wanted to kind of bring out that white a little bit more, and so I'm using a really light touch of gray just around the edges to kind of set off that white and bring that white color out. And it's really hard to see against kind of my table, but when I put it on the card, you'll be able to see a little bit better how that gray makes that white pop a little bit. And then the next one we're going to do is the bunny ears. And so we have a straight ear and we have a flopped over ear, and there are two pieces for each ear. I have used a white cardstock and then a pink cardstock, but I am going to take both of those and add a little bit of that gray to the white again, and then I will take the pink cardstock as well and add a little bit of extra color to that. That's the great thing about die sets like this, is that you can really color it with any medium. You can use your Copic markers, regular markers, you can use your ink blends, you can use colored cardstock. There's lots of different options for whatever you have in your stash. And so I'm going to go ahead and color those up, and then use my tweezers to add the inside portion of the ears. So the long ear, it's really easy to discern which part goes in that ear, but for the smaller ear that's bent over, this kind of little, I don't know what shape that is, this kind of little piece right here, you're going to put the smaller portion towards the bottom of the ear, and then that's just going to go right under where that flap is. And there are lines on the dies that are really helpful for placing some of these elements as well. And so we'll go ahead and set those aside and move on to the face features. So this die has several different pieces on it. It has the blacks of the eyes, the muzzle, and the teeth, and then these two dies here are actually a portion of the eyes, and then we have the whiskers and the little nose there. And I'm going to again color the white, some of the white dies with adding a little bit of color. So I wanted to add a little bit of color to the cheeks, and then I will take the nose and add a little bit of pink as well. And for the placement of the nose, there is a mark on the muzzle where there's an outline of the nose. So when you put that die cut in there, you know exactly where to place it. And so we'll go ahead and take that wax tip from that tool and pick up that die and add it. And then we will go ahead and add the whiskers. And I'm just putting a little dollop of glue right on that corner of where all of the whiskers meet. And we will go ahead and adhere that to the little muzzle. And then for the eyes, there are two white circles, which is basically the whites of the eyes. And then you have a separate die that is the eyelashes, which I did those in gray to match the whiskers. And then the blacks of the eyes are on that die where the muzzle and the teeth are, and that's going to be the third portion of the eyes. So these are really easy to put together. I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and add that to the, and this die right here that's going to be the teeth. But I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue to the eyelash portion of the eye, and then I will take the white circles and add those right on top. And then I'm going to add some adhesive to the black portion of the eye. And for the placement of how these circles go, I did look at the packaging. It was super helpful to get the placement of the black portion of the eye correct. And so that's going to finish off the eyes, and then I will take the tooth and I'm going to add glue to the pointy portion of that tooth so the teeth are flat on the bottom, and then the top is where you're going to add a little bit of adhesive and just go ahead and stick the muzzle of the bunny right over that. And so now it is time to start assembling. We have all of the pieces that we need to put together our bunny mug. And so the ears can either be put behind the mug or they can be put in the mug, or I don't know if that's how it was designed, but that's how I ended up doing it. I thought it looked nice having those come out of that slit that is in the mug, and so I'm going to go ahead and adhere those. I always dry fit all of my pieces first just to make sure that is where I want to place them, and then I can move them around freely without having any adhesive on first. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will adhere all of the pieces. The eyes can either be completely up above the muzzle or slightly, the muzzle could be slightly covering them, which is what I did. And once that is complete, we're going to move on to the different little treats that come with this die set. The first one is a carrot. It is a 3-part, so you have the darkest part, which is the bottom layer, and then the second layer is going to be the die that has the little slits, and then the third is going to be the top of the carrot, which I have colored all of this with some Catherine Pooler inks. And then for the piece of cake, there are 4 pieces, so you've got the main cake piece, and then you've got kind of the icing that is between the cake layers, which is what these squiggly lines are, and those just fit perfectly across the cake. And then the third layer is actually the icing on the cake. There's actually another die that I forgot to bring out, but I ended up remembering that one as well. So that is the top of the cake, and then there is a little a die that does the dollop of whipped cream on top, and so I'll just add that, and that's going to finish off that piece. And then the last piece is a macaroon. This die, or this set, is 4 different dies, and so you've got the main macaroon, and then you've got the middle piece, and then you've got kind of the I believe this is icing. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever had a macaroon, so it's some kind of fancy trim on the outside. And so I'll go ahead and add those pieces. And then once I have all of that done, it's time to start on my actual background for my card. And so I'm just grabbing a stencil from my stash. And I thought this stencil was perfect to kind of give that crisscross background. If you have like a striped stencil, that would work as well to give a similar background. But I'm just taking some colors, a really light green, kind of an orangey, I think it's kind of more of an orangey yellow, and then a really light blue, and just adding those kind of in strips of color up and down the card until I get a really kind of nice pastel pattern. And then I'm taking another die from my stash, and I used a little bit of vellum, and that's what I'm going to put the bunny mug on. So I went ahead and added foam to the back of the bunny mug, and that is going to be adhered to that vellum die cut. And then I will add some liquid adhesive behind the vellum to adhere that to my card. And now it's just a matter of assembling all of the pieces on the card panel where I want them. And if you're interested in any of the Pixi Designs products. I will leave links to those products and the shop below, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in this adorable, plus lots of other adorable products that are in the store. But that's going to finish off my card. I did a little more details, adding some white paint pen, as well as some whisker marks on the face and a little bit of stickles for the whip topping and the macaroon. That's going to do it for me. I hope you enjoyed. If you did like this video, I would love a thumbs up. There are lots of new video designers for Pixi Dust Designs, and so I encourage you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button so you'll be able to see in real time exactly how to put some of these projects together, and I think you're going to love it. So don't miss out. Go ahead and subscribe. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.